Welcome to Boots in Baltimore. I'm LeeAnn Blanchard. I'm here with Dr. Emily Fekete, Reiki Master and owner of Rooted. Tell us, what is Reiki?
Yeah, sure. I know it's becoming more popular, but a lot of people are still pretty unfamiliar with it. And basically the way I like to think about Reiki is it's an energy channeling. So a lot of people use it for healing. And so a good way to explain what Reiki healing would be similar to acupuncture, like how people use needles in acupuncture to, target certain parts of the body to improve certain areas. Um, Reiki does the same thing, except it's channeling energy to those parts of the body. So a Reiki practitioner, what they're doing is they're basically acting as a conduit for the energy to like focus it on certain parts of the body. So it's pretty cool. It was developed in the early 1900s in Japan, and then it was brought over to the US from one of his students who went to Hawaii and then brought to California. And now it's really kind of spreading around the United States yeah, as like a practice that people are using just to improve their energy flow in their life and that sort of thing.
So, so it has similar benefits, but it's non-invasive. And for people who are scared of needles, much
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and especially too because depending on the Reiki practitioner, some Reiki practitioners might work hands-on, but all Reiki practitioners can also work hands-off. So, if
better.
there is some sort of like trauma or anything with your body, you don't have to even be touched at all. Or something I do with Reiki personally is what's called distance Reiki, which is that I don't even need to be in the same room as you. I can just, work on what's called a proxy and use, an object or something like that to kind of stand in for a person or for an animal. It's really good for like pets that are don't want, people in the room. I have a cat that's like, I hate all people. So, to send Reiki that way, you can do it through distance sessions. And so you don't even have to be like in the same room as a person if that makes you uncomfortable.
Mhm. So, how does this fit in with all of the other types of Eastern medicine? So, if somebody's already exploring that or already being treated in other ways, how does Reiki fit in?
Yeah, Reiki is definitely, I want to be clear, it's not a substitute for any kind of medical treatment, right? So make sure you're going to your regular practitioner, that kind of thing. It's really just sort of an add-on. So um, people who might be experiencing anxiety around something, Reiki is really great for like that sort of mindfulness, working on, stress and anxiety. For someone who experiences like chronic pain, or is getting treated for something else, like maybe they're going through chemotherapy or something like that, Reiki is a really good tool to add on to those like tradition, like, Western traditional medicine treatments that you do need. I want to be clear. Reiki does not replace that. But it does help with just, easing that pain or easing that discomfort or anxiety or managing stress or something like that too.
Okay. So, how do you overcome the doubts or fears of potential clients, people who are unfamiliar or a little bit weirded out? Like, what is it that you're going to do to me, or how's this going to feel? What do you tell those people who are a little anxious about it?
Yeah. If this is new, obviously that makes sense that you'd be anxious about trying something new. I try to just tell people, it's really non-invasive, right? Like I can touch you or I don't have to touch you. Um, and the big thing with Reiki is that it's always positive energy, right? We're always channeling. A lot of times Reiki practitioners will say we're channeling love and light, right? It's always positive. It's never going to like infuse you with something bad or something negative. It's all born out of love, right? So it's very positive energy. For people, it can feel differently. just how your body is going to react to that energy flow. Um, and it might bring up some thoughts or anything, right? Like just if you're doing a meditation, the same kind of thing, right? Something might bubble to the surface. But anytime you experience any kind of discomfort, a good Reiki practitioner would make sure to pause and make sure that you're okay.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. If part of the reason that you're coming to a Reiki practitioner is because you've had past trauma, or is because you're having pain, or as things get unblocked, like it's just like how your leg tingles when the blood flow is cut off, and then it hurts when you first start moving again because it's been cut off for so long. And so it
Yeah.
does make sense that there might be a little bit of um, discomfort, or kind of a little bit of, I don't even know how to describe it, but you
Just
might
like maybe an
notice, like,
awakening, yeah, or
yeah,
yeah, something like that. But it's all, I think what's good is just keep in mind it's all coming from a place of love and positivity, right? So this is something that maybe is coming up because you're ready for it and you're ready to process that, right?
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what do people like, what can they expect if you book a session? Do you come to them? Do they travel to you? Do you have a studio that you're working out of? How does that work?
Yeah. So what's really cool about Reiki is that even though it was developed as a healing technique, um, tapping into that energy actually can allow us to do a lot of different things with it besides just healing. And so for me, I personally specialize in energy work that doesn't necessarily have to do with bodily healing, but more about space healing, if this makes sense, or energy clearing in different spaces. So, related to housing and where we live and all of this stuff. Um, so what I do is I work on clearing out any kind of energy that might be stuck in a space or might be just lingering from, previous events. And I use Reiki to sort of move that energy along and clear it out. So, um, if you were to book a session with me, what I would do is I'd come to your home or your office or whatever space you want to clear out. And then what I would do is I would work my way through each room of these spaces and just kind of assess the energy in the area. And then I would call upon, Reiki energy to like clear out anything that was kind of lingering there. And stuff that might be lingering could be all sorts of things, right? Good and bad, right? It's not like a bad thing necessarily, but like let's say you just bought a house for the first time and you want to, start off on a good foot with just you, your family, that's it. Before you move in, I would say clear out any energy that's there from the previous tenants, right? They, who knows what they're doing in their old house. They might have been having a great time, but that energy is not necessarily your energy, right? So, you might want to clear that out. Or same with like you're starting a new business and you have a new office, and you just want to start on the right foot. Or even like I know someone who, she hosted a baby shower in her home. And obviously that's really positive and good energy, but maybe it was like too high vibration, right? It's like, oh man, there were so many people in my home and it got everything really excited and I need to like bring it
Calm it
back,
down,
calm
yeah.
it back down. Yeah, bring it back chill, right? So, I would come in and just kind of retain the calm. So that's my type of Reiki. I am trained to do more like bodily healing Reiki. It's just that's not what I particularly specialize in.
Well, I imagine, I mean, all of Baltimore is old. and and there've been a lot of people here, and there've been a lot of bad things here.
Hmm.
And uh yeah, when investors are buying, these fix and flips, and it looks good on the outside, but you can't see behind the walls. You know, you can't see the history of the place. And I'll tell you, as a realtor, if the property is a murder house or some such, those are not things that realtors are required to disclose. Real estate agents
Mhm.
don't have to tell you if it's a property that has had something bad happen in it. Um, so maybe it's a good idea to do it. And also
Yeah.
I was thinking along the lines of like a dedicatory prayer. There are a lot of religious people who will dedicate their homes or dedicate a building, or they'll have some religious person come in and just say a prayer over their living space or working space. And this makes sense from maybe a less religious standpoint, that you'd still want to have some sort of freshening of the space,
Mhm.
I guess.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes complete sense. And like you said, especially Baltimore with, just the houses here are so old. They've had so many different tenants coming
Owners,
in
yeah.
and out, I mean, murder houses, woo, that's an extreme example, but even just, an old person that passed away in their home because they lived
Yeah,
here their whole life or something like that. It's more of just, I want this house to be for me and my family,
yeah.
and let's like start that out on the right foot. Or
Yeah.
even like when you're experiencing a change too. I had a friend who was about to have a baby. And so, just giving her house like a refresh to like bring the baby into, some nice, clean, positive, loving energy. Right.
Hmm. Yeah, I have a friend who's getting divorced, and um, it's easier to leave than to be left. If you are staying in the marital property, maybe a little sprucing, a little dispelling of that energy so that you can sort of rededicate the place for your own space. Just get rid of the sadness, get rid of the angst, get rid of the anger, get rid of all of those feelings to be able to start fresh without having to move. It makes a lot of
Exactly.
sense.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. It's almost like setting a new intention for your home or business space or whatever space.
That makes sense. So why Baltimore? Why did you locate here?
I mean, honestly, it was just sort of turn of events, life changes, ended up moving here right at the end of the pandemic. And really my partner and I, we really fell in love with it. He's been an Orioles fan his whole life. We grew up in Rochester, New York, so there's a weird Orioles tie, but so he was really excited to move here. And then once we were here, I really just fell in love with the city, to be honest. So I love the history. I love um I don't know, just sort of that old kind of Rust Belt-ish attitude, right? And I think I like the communities a lot. I think there's a lot of community feel in
Mhm.
Baltimore. And so I'm happy, I'm honestly just happy to be here.
So what's your service area? Like how far out would you go?
Yeah. I mean, I'll cover the whole city. So anywhere in the city is fine. I'll cover, I'll go out to the county if people are interested. Depending on how far it is, I might charge, a mileage or something like that. But yeah, for the most part, anywhere in the city, and then further out is okay as well.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of scope here for you, plenty of work here in the city.
Mhm. Yeah.
So if people are interested in finding out more or booking a session, how should they contact you?
Yeah, the best is going to be on Instagram. I know I'm like such a millennial, right? But on Instagram is going to be the best. And my handle is just at rooted.bmore. So ROOTED period BMORE.
All right. Well,
Mhm.
thank you so much. This has been really informational and fascinating.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to have come on here. And yeah, if anyone's really interested in, even just chatting more with me, that you're not sure you want to book anything, that's fine too. I'm happy to just talk more about my process.
Well, thank you again. This is LeeAnn Blanchard at Boots in Baltimore. We'll have more interviews for you soon.